issues or such compassionate ground, you get postings near your home, wherein your families can come and help you out. And frankly speaking, I would say this is just another challenge that comes in your life, because I do not have kids. It is easier for me to say that, but I do have colleagues who I have served with, senior women officers, who, despite having two kids, have gone for UN mission, have gone for field postings, and are being applauded for their efforts despite having a family. And also, if you think about it, the kind of amenities we have, like you have such a strong bond and brotherhood that if someday, this is something that I've done myself, so hence I'm sharing it with you. Someday, if there's some emergency, you yourself take a step forward to help others out. There were times when my senior woman officer had to go to her parents, so I got the two children home and we looked after them for 5 days. Just giving a small example, we have facilities like uh, the military hospitals all over in any emergency, and also I think it is the family, the bond that you have in your unit. If something goes wrong someday, you get timely leaves, you get that support. So I think it gets easier with time. I would not say it's easy, but with the kind of experience you've had, I think you've handled tougher things. So, and I strongly believe that after being a mother and having a family, there is nobody stronger than a mother. So nothing would stop her, taking care of her family. So I would just advise this to the women cadet aspirants, that you know what you're getting into, and you also know that you have prepared and trained yourself for any challenge. So this is just another challenge, and your family is going to be prouder and support you in better, because you're not just a mother, you are a soldier as well. So I'm sure they'll do well.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, any other query from anyone?
Jane ma'am.
Jai.
So I have a question. I'm Safwana Fatima, second year NCC cadet of Newman College, Thodupuzha. So what was the
Yes.
change that happened for you in your life, that just before and after joining the army? How did your perception change after serving?
Okay. So as I said, I mean, I have grown up in an environment, where I've always seen my father, even my grandfather in uniform. So I used to take them as my inspiration. I I would want to be like them. But I remember when I got commissioned, I used to ask my father small little things, that how do I go about this? How do I go about that? But my father never told me the solution. He used to tell me one thing, and I still remember this. He told me that until and unless you do things on ground, you don't learn, you don't make mistakes, this journey is incomplete. So I was never spoon fed something. Before I got commissioned, I used to think that, okay, I have the experience, I have known stories about army, so I would be a better officer. But after getting commissioned, when I got on ground, what my father would have experienced was not something that I also experienced. My experiences were different, my learnings and challenges were different. But as and when I started doing things on ground, and I just stood there and just led the team, it was a different learning. So I grew up as a person in terms of, you had seen, I mean, I'm talking in front of such seasoned brigadiers who have such vast experience. But whatever little time I have spent in the army, these 10 years, not any and everyone goes through those experiences. At one point of time in your life, you go through something, maybe some drawback, some challenge, that after you overcome it, you become so confident, and you know that you can achieve anything in life. ये तो कुछ भी नहीं है, मतलब इससे क्या क्या नहीं देखा है मैंने. So it gave me that self confidence. It gave me that that power that I may be just say 25 years old or 26 years old, but whatever comes my way, I'm going to face it. So this is the perception that came into me after I joined the forces.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
My name is Jim. I am from Newman College, and my question is, what is the best thing that gets in your life in because of to be a part of army?
Okay. I think for everyone it would be a different best thing, but for me, till today, my troops, my boys, they call me back whenever they have had babies in life, or they've got married, or their kids have gone to colleges, or their kids have become officers. I still get a call back from those men, and with whom we had served, say, 10 years or 9 years ago. So it is that bond that I'm taking back after this journey. This does not happen anywhere. I mean, because we've seen and we've been with each other in good as well as bad times, and we've had each other's back. So this is a bond for life, which does not come, generally we do not see such bonds. So the brotherhood that I have, like I said, Chako sir, I know him since past 10 years. But we ensure that we wish each other, we know what is happening. Whatever good happens in my life, I share with sir. And that time I was just a lieutenant, so I would have done so many mistakes. I would have learned from him, but he, with his large heart, always used to forgive me and move on, and help me become the officer that I have. So same thing I have done for my boys. So this bond, this brotherhood that we have, is the best thing for me. And back at home, I have this wall full of photos. So it is my great grandfather, my grandfather, my father, and now I am there in uniform. So when I see that and I get a sense of pride, this is the best thing, the best feeling for me. So it could be something else for others, but
Thank you, ma'am.
in my case, this is the thing.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
I'm Krishna Gavita
Hi.
of NCC second year kid. So, ma'am, we know that now the government has approved the girl entry for ND and all. So, ma'am, my question for you is that what tips would you like to give the girl aspirants, just like me out there, out in our nation, who want to wish or who are preparing to join army?
See, it's a very, very good decision in my opinion, that now firstly women officers are getting permanent commission, and also the entry in the NDA. So NDA is something we had just dreamed of, or we've just seen, 4 years of training. So what we do in 1 year, they do an extensive training which goes on for 4 years. So as exciting as it sounds, it is going to be tough as well. It's not easy, because no matter what you say, there is no discrimination, but you have certain, physical restrictions. You may not be as fast as your male counterparts, or things like that. Just natural restrictions which everyone knows about. But however, they are going to train you like that. I remember we had people who had never been into sports also. They had not played any sport in their entire life. They were just into studies, but then they joined the academy. So at that point of time, at day one, we used to think, how are we going to do that 40 kilometers run back at the end of the training? It was like impossible for us. But towards the end of the training, everyone did that 40-kilometer run with a backpack of 18 kgs, which is not a joke. But at that, initially, we used to feel, how is that possible? So now, since women would be allowed to undergo NDA training, they will prepare you for that. So all you have to do is be mentally strong. Physicals, I'm sure they'll look after you. Studies, they'll look after you. But what they're looking for you is whether you have those qualities or not, to lead your men someday. So just be mentally prepared, and I think it's very exciting that you'll get into ND and have that 4 years of training and someday command a unit, and so it's a very good thing, and I wish everyone all the best for that.
Good morning.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, Arya.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm Arya Vinny. Ma'am, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Ma'am, what makes you self-motivated, and can you share a thought which had been a turning point of your career?
Okay. Self-motivated, as I told you, I think it was a dream for me. It was one and only dream for me, frankly speaking. So after getting graduated, all my friends, all my college mates were either entering into the corporate sector, or somebody was doing CA, somebody was doing MBA, because we were all commerce graduates. But I'm the only one from my college who joined the armed forces. So there was no stopping me. I think I have seen the glory and the charm of uniform in my family. So that way I was lucky. And what I would say was the turning point in my career was those Srinagar floods, the experience that I shared with you. Those pictures, that experience is really fresh in my mind. And today when I sit back and think about it, I think we did the impossible at that point of time. So it gave me more confidence. It made me feel more proud about myself that I was a part of something so big like that. And it has prepared me for life. So even if I'm not in uniform, I know whatever comes my way, we'll be prepared for it. So for me, that was the turning point.
Thank you, ma'am.
Most welcome.
Good morning, ma'am.
Hi.
My name is Don Roy, and I'm
Yes.
from Newman NCC unit. Madam,
Yes.
my question is, there is a lot of people who discourage or distract the youngsters of India from joining Indian Army. What is your answer to the public?
I'm sorry, your voice was not very clear. May I know what's the question?
Ma'am, my question is, there is a lot of people who discourage the youngsters from joining Indian Army. What is your answer to those type of people?
Okay. There will always be people in life who will tell you can't do this, right? It's not just the army. I'm sure when you decided to join the NCC, there would have been few people, relatives who would have told you, why are you joining this? There is no career in that, and etc. So there were a few people, even in my family, who were telling my father that you are sending your girl to the army. It does not matter. I mean, you should not just answer back to them. You should just act upon it and let your actions speak, not your words. So if this is your dream, if this is your goal, just go ahead. It does not matter. It is not just for the army, for anything in life. If you've set your mind on something, just go ahead. As long as your family is supporting you, remember one thing, the people who matter to you will not mind anything that you're doing. But the ones who are minding such things, they should not matter to you. Just remember that.
That's very nice.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ma'am.
Hi, then.
Ma'am, I also have a question. What were difficulties you faced in the time of training?
Okay. I won't say difficulties. Actually, it is a lot of strengthening that they make you undergo. Like I said, right from day one, when they tell you to cut your hair, it seems okay for us because like you all are in NCC and you're used to it. But imagine for somebody who's always been, a blue-eyed boy or girl of her family or his family, and suddenly you just are brought to ground zero, that you are nothing, you are dust for us. So it hits you. So right from rigorous training schedules, physical exertion, mental exertion, rogering sessions. I mean, you don't even get to eat your food properly. The moment you start eating, they call you for a fall-in and then start rogering you. Whatever little you've eaten, it also comes out. few people just vomit. So you get maybe 3 or 4 hours at night. In that also, you have seniors in your dormitories who just take away that time. So when you go through something like that, where you're not eating well, where you have to rigorously work towards physicals, every second day is some or the other test, whether it is in terms of studies, in terms of physical tests. So you're going through a lot at that point of time. There are camps. You are going to for mountain camps, for so many camps, for days together. When you don't get your basics, that is roti, kapda, and makan, is when you start losing it. What is happening to us? What the hell? We didn't sign up for this. But then you realize you are together, which is a very good thing. I still remember in academy, if one cadet would falter, except for that cadet, the entire company would get rogered. So getting my point, it was there. I think meticulous planning as to how to make us stronger as a team. So you were not alone in that journey. That was the best part. You had 52 people of your own company, and the entire academy is doing the same thing. So I think we overcame the challenges together as a team. So it's more than anything else, it is just mental and physical, rigorous training that you undergo. Rest, I think, as long as you're together and you're moving on with that attitude, theek hai, aane do, so that also would not be anything for you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening to me and my status. And it was, I just took a journey back in time, by sharing all this with you. It is an excellent choice if you get into the armed forces. It is a matter of pride. And I'm sure with all of you who especially are preparing, by being in NCC, you're already half there. You just have to just give another push and get into the academies, and I'm sure all of you are going to do well. And for any queries or any other questions in life, I would share my number. You can always approach me. Whatever is in my capability, I would surely help you out with. And thank you so much for this forum. I had a good time sharing my journey with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for making this session such a fruitful one. It was an amazing session.
Thank you.
It would be in a loss for to miss it. Thank you. Now it's a time for our second technical session, Life in Defense by Brigadier Anubhav Singh Chahal. Brigadier Anubhav Singh Chahal, Sena Medal, is an outstanding Indian Army veteran who has been awarded with the coveted Sena Medal Gallantry for his exceptional bravery during anti-terrorist operation in Jammu and Kashmir. The veteran has done MSc MPhil in Defense and Strategic Studies. Brigadier Anubhav Singh is no doubt a living war hero. Let me invite Brigadier Anubhav Singh Chahal to take over the session. So, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The esteemed Principal Dr. Thompson Joseph, other faculty members, guests, and esteemed speaker, especially Brigadier M.D. Chako, who is a dear friend of mine and who urged me to share my military experience with you. And of course, boys and girls who have chosen to become members of this webinar, Boots and Bullets on Defense. I wish to tell you at the outset, I'm most happy to be in your midst to participate in today's webinar on career in defense. And during the course of my presentation, I shall endeavor to give you a feel as to what it feels to be a part of this elite group of the armed forces. That is Army, Navy, or Air Force. That's a personal choice. A lot of you are from Kerala. Maybe you would prefer Navy or Air Force or Army. We had a lot of friends from Kerala in the Army where we served. And so when I say Army, prepared it means all three classes. So I will speak to you on lifestyle in the armed forces. What does it offer? What do the military cantonments offer? What does service in the army offer? And besides this, I will also share an operational experience with me, which I was privileged to go through, where I became a battle casualty and was subsequently awarded a medal for gallantry. That also towards the end I will share so that you have a first-hand feel what it means to be in the field. And I'm also told you children are from college or maybe senior school students. Many of you are NCC cadets. I have handled, I have been with NCC cadets in Jabalpur. I was the group commander there. And I've seen the fire, the keenness, the patriotism, the hard work they are willing to put in. And I have all the respect for all NCC cadets. You have taken a very wise decision. It's national service. The values that you learn in NCC will hold you in good stead throughout your life, not just in your careers, but throughout your life. You may become a doctor, an engineer, a chartered accountant, a lawyer, whatever, a teacher, whatever profession you choose to follow, all are good. You have to arrive at your inner calling because this is the time, this juncture in life has a lot of challenges. Besides academics, you are grappling with the idea as to what I should be choosing as a career, what I would like my working life to be. What is it that excites me? What is it that I'm willing to experience as a hobby? And the working life should not just be a slog, it should be an interesting journey. So, your friends, your well wishers, your parents, your teachers are helping you to arrive at that decision. But you yourself are the best person to answer that question. If you silently, calmly think about it, you will arrive at your calling. And that's an important decision for you as of now. So, being a military man, I will share my experience with you. Should you get excited by guns and bullets and adventure and a good lifestyle, lots of traveling all over India, a few lucky ones also go to foreign missions, part of United Nations missions or training teams. So lots of traveling, lots of adventure. So if you like all that, maybe the armed forces is the answer for you. I have a presentation to share with you, which I will now start.
Channel sir, the presentation is not on. We cannot see your presentation.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just figure this out. 1 second.
You upload the presentation, like you present the presentation.
Okay. Just hang on, please.
Students, just wait. I think there's some technical snag because of which he's still able to get it. Kindly stay on.
Video on there, audio. Okay, now is it fine?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So you would have heard this punchline, do you have it in you? It's not for everyone. It's for a few chosen ones only, a career in the armed forces. And the question we should answer, or we should endeavor to get into is what sets an army officer apart? You would have heard these quotes during Kargil War, like Captain Manoj Pandey said, if death strikes me before I prove my blood, I swear I will kill death. This is the patriotism or a feeling which the participating troops in a battle or a war or an encounter are imbued with. Chetwood motto, Gita spoke to you, Major Gita Adhikari. Read it for yourself. This is etched in the Chetwood Hall in the Indian Military Academy at Dehradun, where and a lot of thought goes into it in explaining the contents of this. It means much more than meets the eye. A word about historical background of the armed forces. We were evolved from the British Indian Army, and we were modeled on the British Army lines. And just after independence, a war was thrust on us from our not so friendly adversary to the west, Pakistan. They tried and snatch away Jammu and Kashmir from us, but of course we pushed them back. Liberation of Hyderabad was also a similar story. Liberation of Goa in 61 was on similar lines. Then 1962 war from the north was thrust upon us. And thereafter we fought three subsequent wars with Pakistan, 1965, 1971, and the recent Kargil war of 1999. Operation Parakram, where the Indian Army mobilized in 2001 and 2 after the Indian Parliament came under attack. And we've also been active participant in UN peacekeeping missions all over the world. 47-48, you are well aware. The Pakistani troops, guised as Razakars, they came into India and tried to snatch away and almost reach Srinagar airport, where a lot of gallant actions were fought. You would be well reminded of Major Somnath Sharma, who got martyred there and was awarded the first Paramveer Chakra of India. 62 war was an unpleasant part of our history when we were ill-prepared, ill-equipped, and we were kind of pushed into a war with China. It was an unequal battle, largely because we were not equipped and prepared for it. 1965 war we fought with Pakistan and gave them a bloody nose, and it was a victory for India. 71 war is well known to you, where Field Marshal Manekshaw, the most loved and admired and respected soldier of the Indian Army, orchestrated such a war that almost 98,000 troops, Pakistani troops, laid down their arms, and a new country was carved out, Bangladesh. Kargil war, another dagger was thrust in our backs by Pakistanis, and of course they were given a befitting reply and pushed back on the icy heights of Kargil. And now, an officer and a gentleman. We in the armed forces are always told to become a gentleman. So this officer and a gentleman, what kind of lifestyle does he enjoy in the armed forces? I will give you a glimpse. besides the glamour of elitist sports, social gatherings in our messes, the quality of life in our cantonments, where everything functions in a set manner, there is a lot of planning and hard work which goes behind the scenes to make things look seamless, smooth, neat, well orchestrated. So that's cantonment living. A lot of camaraderie, as Geeta Adhikari highlighted to you. Camaraderie, the kind of camaraderie we enjoy in the armed forces, you don't get to see in any other profession. The kind of bondings we make with our fellow officers, our soldiers, not just the soldiers, the families make with other families, they are friends for life. So that is a hallmark of the armed forces living. And of course, you get to travel in various landscapes, whether it is icy heights of Siachen Glacier or the deserts, Thar Desert, mountains of Jammu and Kashmir or Northeast, jungles of Northeast. So all this along the length and breadth of India, you get to experience. And besides the usual sports of hockey, football, basketball, volleyball, athletics, track events, we get exposed to various elitist games like golf, sailing, etc., etc. All this comes without much of an effort. It is available. It is your personal choice. If you want to, you can go ahead. Outside also opportunities may be there, but very few, and you need to pay heavily. They're hard to get. Adventure sports, again, whether it is skydiving or river rafting or mountaineering, so these kind of things are freely available. Myself, I did my para jumps as part of Indian military training, academy training. Then I river rafted in Tista River in Sikkim while I was posted there. So wherever you are posted, there are some opportunities come your way, and if you feel like, you can enjoy them. Interestingly, as you see on your left on the screen, there is a cartoon made by the most respected cartoonist of our country, Mr. R.K. Lakshman. Just to share with you, we had a silver jubilee. My unit, I'm from the Maratha regiment. We were in Chennai when a silver jubilee came up. So we invited Mr. R.K. Lakshman to please come and stay in the unit, watch the various activities, what soldiers do, and make a sketch. So the gentleman was gracious enough to come, spent a night, 2 days with us, and towards the end, he made this sketch for us, which of course the other regiments of the Indian Army also liked it, and they took his permission. What you see is a Sikh soldier here. So originally it was made for a Maratha soldier. And very appropriately he said, "May you reach still greater heights." Soldiering teaches you to excel, to outperform yourself, go beyond your capabilities. So what is it in the lifestyle that you can hope to look forward to? Physical fitness. Soldiers are not just in training, even otherwise, and post-retirement also pay significant stress on physical fitness. So besides gymming and other activities, sports and fitness is a part of your life then. You are encouraged to play games, so you build proficiency in playing games of your choice. And of course, there is a reasonable desk job too, which you need to attend to. And there is considerable amount of socializing in the form of parties, get-togethers, you watch movies together, and other recreational facilities besides picnics, etc. And you don't need to pay anything to enjoy that lifestyle. Okay. This is again a movie.
From the burning deserts of Rajasthan to the icy heights of Siachen, from battling wars to nation building, from scaling mountains to Olympic glory, from enduring struggle to supreme sacrifice. With an indomitable will, our soldiers lay down their lives for honor, for Izzat, for India. The Indian Army is the pride of our nation. The Indian soldier has had an illustrious march through history, from the battlefields of the First World War, where 1.3 million Indian soldiers marched with valor, to the Second World War, where 2.5 million Indian soldiers fought shoulder to shoulder with the Allied forces to uphold the ideals of freedom, liberty, and democracy, hastening our own journey to freedom. The immortal epitaph at the memorial in Kohima is a salute to their sacrifice. For their tomorrow, we gave our today. As our great nation took our first steps towards freedom in 1947, it was the Indian Army, with its secular credential, to protect human values, a quality they retain to this day. With sheer grit and to push them up to the 11,500 feet high Zojila. This audaciousness, perseverance, and flawless execution by the Indian soldier altered the course of destiny. Then came 1962, when the enemy attacked in hordes, taking the nation by surprise. The ill-equipped Indian soldier stood his ground, willing to lay down his life even in the face of overwhelming odds. In 1965, the Indian military history, strategically one of the most important victories of the nation, when India established control over the imposing and magnificent Saltoro Ridge, overlooking the Siachen Glacier, now the highest battlefield in the world. The Indian Army was tested once again in 1999, effecting belligerent incursions on ice-capped peaks by tackling vertical cliff faces in Kargil. The Indian soldier yet again proved his mettle and won the hearts of the nation. The Indian Army not only safeguards the borders of our nation, but also the foundation of our democracy. The scourge of terrorism and insurgency has brought war to the doorstep of innocent civilians. Be it in the battle fatigues of the Rashtriya Rifles or the black dungarees of the special action groups which form the backbone of the NSG, the nation turns to the army every time. The formidable reputation of our soldiers goes far beyond our shores. Donning the role of ambassadors of the Indian state, they have endeavored ceaselessly to achieve peace and stability in war-ravaged nations, making them one of the most sought-after peacekeepers across the world. Training friendly armies and extending support and humanitarian aid, our soldiers are the public face of Indian diplomacy, participating in joint exercises with friendly nations. They also showcase our ethos and capabilities across the world. It is this lethal man-machine combination that stands between any adversary and society. The wrath of Mother Nature comes without warning and can be far more devastating than war itself. In such catastrophe, the nation turns to the ever-dependable army, the fastest responders in any crisis. Notwithstanding personal hardship, the Indian soldier has always responded with alacrity. Whether it was combating floods in Uttarakhand and Kashmir, earthquakes in Uri and Bhuj, tsunamis or cyclones, and provided succor and relief to our beleaguered citizens. This devotion to duty comes at a cost. The Indian soldier has been ever willing to pay the price whenever called upon. Stories of valor and sacrifice of the men in uniform are today folklore. Men apart, every man a hero. Yet, some men stand taller. From Major Somnath Sharma to Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal, from CQMH Abdul Hamid to Lance Naik Albert Decker. These men willingly sacrifice their lives in the name of our nation. Such stories of selfless sacrifice abound, not only in war, but also in peace. Like Captain Manjinder Singh Pinder, who saved 150 lives in the Upahar tragedy, and Bishnu Shrestha, who single-handedly saved the honor of a young lady from 40 armed bandits on a train. For every hero, there are countless others who too have spilled their blood. Some survived, many others did not. Unacknowledged, but secure in the knowledge that they too have done their bit for our nation. Words can hardly convey the awe and gratitude that these martyrs inspire, for their sacrifice is our freedom. In the words of T.B. Macaulay, how can man die better than facing fearful odds for the ashes of his fathers and the temples of his gods? Not only the soldier, their families too pay the price for such valor. But in their grief, they take strength from the fact that their larger family, the Indian Army, will always stand by them. The Indian soldier not only fights the nation's wars, but has a larger role to play in a march towards greatness. Building critical infrastructure like roads, bridges, and airstrips in virtually inaccessible and extremely varied terrains, to constructing bridges in Delhi during the Commonwealth Games, the Indian Army is there at the nation's call. Hard at work, the gritty Indian soldier hones his soldierly skills throughout the year, maintaining his equipment and keeping his powder dry. He's always there for other security forces, be it training the Central Armed Police Forces to combat terror, or assisting the local police when things get out of hand. From restoring essential services like communication or power, to running railways or oil wells, from medical research to cyber war, from trauma care to conservation of ecology and heritage, the Army responds to the clarion call of the nation in every walk of life. Once a soldier, always a soldier. Our veterans too contribute to society. Once they hang up their spurs, they join every walk of civilian life, bringing with them the qualities of discipline, honesty, integrity, and loyalty. The Army also imparts these values in the younger generation through the NCC, investing in our future. In the sports arena too, the Indian soldier has kept the national flag flying high, and the impressive tally of medals tells its own tale. Be it Dhyan Chand in hockey, Captain C.K. Naidu in cricket, or the flying Sikh Milkha Singh in athletics, the Army has always contributed its share of outstanding sportsmen to the nation. Through war and peace, within our borders and without, these men and women stand shoulder to shoulder, inspiring the citizens of our nation. Irrespective of caste, creed, or color, every soldier epitomizes the motto, all for one and one for all. From the dense and humid jungles of Arunachal to the barren expanse of the Rann of Kutch, from the beaches of Port Blair to the high-altitude desert in Ladakh, the Indian Army is ever ready, be it war or as the ever-dependable instrument of the state, supporting national endeavors and sustaining national pride. The Indian soldier stands steadfast and strong, knowing that the aspirations of over 1 billion Indians rests on his shoulders. He soldiers on, unrelenting in his pursuit of excellence. The nation expects, the army delivers. In heat and cold, in pleasure and pain, stoic and steadfast, you will find him living by his honor code, willing to pay even with his life, for the dignity of our nation, the idea of India. The ethos and spirit of the Indian soldier makes the Indian Army the pride of our nation.
All right. I think you've seen the video enough. And of course, this pomp and glitter is also part of the cantonment living. So, what is it that one should choose for in the armed forces vis-a-vis civil professions? You get a thrill to command. You see, it's an adrenaline rush when you are commanding men and to accomplish difficult, if not impossible, missions. Lead them into battle, motivate and inspire them to be a very dynamic team. You get to handle a lot of weapons. And of course, there is a lot of professional satisfaction. You, by and by, keep advancing in rank, leading to more privileges. You get immense amount of job satisfaction. There is job security. There is economic stability because lots of it is comes under perks and privileges. You don't need to pay for them. And you also get a pension, which is now only for the armed forces. And of course, corporate has no such thing. And in the society, you are a respected member of the family. You enjoy a good quality living. And adventure, of course, is the spine of the armed forces. So all these are ranks. Maybe Brigadier Chaco will cover this for you. And you feel very enriched professionally because you're serving the nation. You're serving for the motherland. It's not a mercenary profession just to earn some money. Since times immemorial, it's been a very pure and noble profession. You travel and you explore a lot of your own country and abroad. And you represent your nation as part of United missions or training teams. And there is a challenge every day. There is a variety every day. It does not become a stagnant kind of living in the armed forces. And all these aspects I have covered for you. You could just glance on them through them. The families also get to enjoy a lot of quality living. Your wives and your children, they're also exposed to a lot of activities which a civilian does not get to see. There are many post-retirement benefits, as I spoke earlier. There is pension, gratuity, free medical cover for life. You see, medical cover is very costly these days. You get very high quality medical cover till you die. There are canteen services that offer you good stuff at low prices. You are insured. Post-retirement, you look forward to a resettlement. And of course, these are the kind of entries available for either males or women. Okay. One more movie I think you can enjoy.
The crest of the Indian Military Academy is composed of the crossed swords of the profession of arms, with a flaming torch symbolizing knowledge superimposed in the middle by the Dharma Chakra of Ashok against a background of steel grey and blood red. The scroll bears the inscription Virta or Vivek, meaning valor and wisdom. The Indian Military Academy came into being in the year 1932 and ever since has grown from strength to strength. The first batch that passed out 2 years later had a total of 40 gentlemen cadets. And over 43,000 GCs have passed out from this academy. It evolved its own distinct identity right from the start. Through its portals passed the leadership of the Indian Army, generation after generation, carving a niche for themselves on whose shoulders contemporary Indian history came to rest.
Under your command. Yes, sir. That's impossible, but nevertheless.
One of the broadest shoulders, those of Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw, had also won the epaulettes of a gentleman cadet as part of the first batch that was to train at the IMA.
God! Say the best of it
17 years to the day, Manekshaw had heard Sir Philip Chetwood's immortal words: "The safety, honor, and welfare of your country come first, always and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of the men you command come next. Your own ease, comfort, and safety come last, always and every time." In the early years of the academy, the training was designed to produce the British concept of an officer, complete not only with required technical standards, but also with the social shibboleths that governed the British Indian Army. One of the greatest achievements of the academy was the smooth transition with which the Indian soldier accepted the change in leadership from British to Indian officers. For the warriors of tomorrow, their journey starts with specific field training exercises where they are introduced to the fundamentals of leadership and management, encompassing training in fieldcraft and small unit tactics.
हम 7 गार्ड के पहले प्लेटून आज रात 7 और 8 की रात को एमिनेशन पॉइंट पर रेड कर उस एमिनेशन को बर्बाद करना है.
The art of war and the handling of weapons. These skills are constantly developed and sharpened during the GC's tenure at the academy. These have paid huge dividends in actual warfare, where the Indian Army's leadership, especially at the subunit level, has been outstanding.
Moment you assault, everyone is firing. Only thing is, there's nothing like opening fire, not sitting in an ambush. You're going to open fire, wait for the enemy to come in center. You know the enemy is there. You just got 10 minutes. We'll have to kill those chaps and come back.
The ability to withstand protracted stress and strain is the bedrock of any mental and moral military training. Physical fitness is the common denominator in discipline, bravery, and ferocity, all inseparable qualities that are the hallmark of any fighting man. Given the diversity of terrain and the circumstances within which the Indian Army operates, the training at the academy covers a wide spectrum. Lectures by young officers with plenty of live experience, be it in the jungles of Mizoram or the icy heights of Siachen, helps the gentleman cadet imbibe from their platoon, company, and battalion commanders. Cadet has also presented a perspective on the terror tactics, which are today a worldwide military threat. An evaluation of simple methodologies adopted by hostile parties includes non-conventional employment of explosive devices. Field exercises play an important, almost intangible role in the development of the future officer. The training team, which charts each course through its term at the academy, has to get the GC's fundamentals honed to perfection within a tight stipulated schedule. Amidst this almost frenzied pace, playing dead allows the enterprising GC 40 winks. The face of modern war necessitates that tomorrow's warrior fosters a deep interest and care for the individual, for he may well have to flush the enemy from behind the ranks of his own people.
फौज ने गांव को चारों तरफ से घेर रखा है। पूरे गांव वाले अपने आइडेंटिटी कार्ड लेकर बाहर आ जाएं। खड़ा हो। 12 बार
General Wingate's long range behind the enemy lines columns set standards of endurance during World War II that kindled the imagination of the world. Now the gentlemen cadets, as a unit, must cover the 70-odd kilometers through the Shivaliks, reporting at the academy with men and equipment intact. Modern-day technology has brought many changes into the lives of the GCs, but the basic objectives of the IMA continue to be time-honored. Apart from teaching the GC how to think and communicate as a future commander and to foster an attitude of integrity, selflessness, and loyalty, the academy must train him in basic skills of battlefield discipline and soldiering.
Number 2, fire. 2 fire. 2 fire. 3 fire. Number 4 RL fire.
No people of antiquity attributed as much importance to sport as the ancient Greeks. Plato's Republic, considered to be the blueprint of the British public school system, has influenced almost every military academy across the globe. The IMA is no exception, and the academy has an integrated physical program that encourages sport and physical activity for all gentlemen cadets. Many believe that man was born to kick a ball, and gentlemen cadets are not much different from their human counterparts in this respect. Balancing sports participation in the overall scheme of education is critical. Inter-company and inter-battalion fervor on the sporting arenas have much to do with the championship banner that is awarded at the end of each term. It can safely be said that polo is the Indian Army's gift to the world. It was an Indian Army subaltern who delivered the game from the remote mountains of Manipur into the foothills of Assam, from where it spread to Calcutta and the rest of the globe. In virtually all equestrian alumni have, year after year, Academy teams clash with sporting rivals NDA in a variety of disciplines, fighting it out for the coveted Bakshi Cup. IMA alumni have distinguished themselves not only in mountaineering and equestrian events, but have played Test cricket, represented India at the Olympic, Asian and Commonwealth Games. They have dominated the national squash scenario for decades and collected a host of Arjuna awards in other arenas as well. Clutch of medals won at Delhi, a sport that makes not just the academy but the entire nation collectively hold its breath. If the blur of color were to inspire an artist, it would take a Rudyard Kipling to capture the soul of the long-distance runner. The ground seems to shake as the entire academy is on the move. Individual endurance is tested to the very limit as GCs run not just for themselves, but for their respective countries. Flanked by the Jamuna to the west and the great Ganga to the east, IMA is ideally positioned for the gentlemen cadets to revel in the bounties of nature. Be it mountaineering, whitewater expeditions, or parasailing, those who live up to the challenge come away with not only a vast knowledge of natural skills, but also a new level of self-confidence born from facing adversity and overcoming it. The naturally verdant surroundings of the academy stretch from the Tons River Valley to the lush green environs of the Forest Research Institute. Against this backdrop, the gentleman cadet has plenty of opportunity to develop and hone particular skills, often resulting in splendid intellectual exuberance. Time.
उस वक्त की खींची गई रेखा आज भी शोरों की तरह सुलग रही है। पर गौर करने लायक बात यह है कि दोनों देशों की सेनाएं आमने सामने हैं, फिर भी लोग मिला जुला।
The gentleman cadet must learn to be a brother officer as well as a junior, linked in a common bond of honorable behavior. The colors of the academy are steel grey and blood red. Grey for steel denotes strength and resilience, whereas red for blood signifies the ultimate sacrifice in devotion to duty. The public face of not just the academy, but that of the entire army is on display. Tempered by fire, the passing out gentlemen cadets have been trained in disciplined valor to the extent that now courage becomes a habit and a reflex. They too, like so many before them, carry forward certain virtues: loyalty to comrades, fidelity to an oath, and courage under stress. For without these virtues, an officer and an army are nothing.
That is your task and your duty. You are required to ensure the security of this country against any aggressor. What does that mean?
Done just that. The crest of the Indian military
Well, I hope you liked the movie. It gave kind of the whole sum and substance of the military life is adventure. If all this excites you, children, then the place to be is in the armed forces. And see and evaluate for yourself and do what you feel is right. And well, I have come to the end of my presentation. And to close, I wish you all the luck, work hard, make friends, and may you have a very fulfilling professional life in the years to come. Good luck and may God bless you. Thank you. Jai Hind. I'm sorry, I'm open to questions. If anyone has some question, query, or a view, or wish to highlight something, most welcome, please. Yes, yes, you're audible.
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah.
Good morning, sir. I am Cadet Joshi. And my question is, how did you imagine military life before you joined? And how did your perceptions change after serving in army? And can you also share some fun things that you and your friends did together while you were deployed?
Okay, I thought I was running short of time. That's why I did not kind of speak about my battle experience. I will do it. Okay, answering your question, Jess. I was fascinated by armed forces. War fascinated me. Soldiering fascinated me as a child, And we didn't have very many relatives in the armed forces except one. So he was from the armored corps, and those tanks and this, that, when we used to visit their home, uh, we used to like it as children. And the idea of traveling and adventure activities and soldiering kind of fascinated me, and that's how I joined the armed forces. And as regarding my experience while deployed, my battle experience was when I was a commanding officer. We were posted on the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir, somewhere in Rajouri sector. You heard of Rajouri? It comes in the news off and on. It is north of Jammu. Okay, you don't need to actually. So I was a commanding officer at the base, and the troops were deployed on the line of control. And at last light, ambushes used to go. Ambush is a body of troops who are located at possible avenues of infiltration from where terrorists, militants, etc., come from across Pak-occupied Kashmir to cause havoc in our country. So around 11 o'clock was the time I used to go off to sleep. And that day, while I was sleeping, around 11:15, 11:30, I got a telephone call from our exchange that a particular ambush wanted to speak to me. And they've had an encounter. So I said, yes, put me through. And when I spoke to that ambush commander, he told me they have had an encounter. Encounter means there was an exchange of fire between infiltrating terrorists and our troops. I asked him, have we suffered any casualty? He said, no, sir, not so far. And any casualties on the other end? He said, sir, we do not know. It is very dark and it is forested area. I can't really make out. So I said, okay, do not move. Don't make any movement or noise. Then you will become a target. Keep observing, keep listening. In case you hear movement, you should open fire and cause casualties to those terrorists. Stop them from escaping our cordon stop that we have put. And then I told my exchange, put me through the handheld thermal imager. Thermal imagers are placed at an advantageous position, a dominating position, a hilltop, from where they can see from top. Even during night time, they can observe activity and all. So they guide the ambushes. The thermal imager people and the ambushes work in coordination, and then they operate and stop the terrorists, etc. So when I spoke to the thermal imager Jawan, he said, "Sir, we are trying our best. In the beginning, we had detected some movement and we warned the ambush, and the ambush relocated a little bit, and there was an exchange of fire. But now we are unable to kind of detect movement on the militant side, and we are changing our position." I said, "Okay, very good. And moment you detect something, do inform the ambush accordingly so that they can take requisite action." And then I spoke again to the ambush and said, "Okay, this is what is happening at the thermal imager end. And at first light, we'll bring in more troops and search the area. Meanwhile, you hold your ground and look after yourself. Try not to become a casualty." So then I called my second in command, who was also at the base, the adjutant and Subedar Major and all. And we made a plan. So at first light, I was to go and to the ambush position and organize search. Some more additional troops were also diverted from other posts so that we could search the area for the hiding terrorists. And I reached that area and search was going on. And around 10 o'clock, my brigade commander from Punch called up. And he said, "What's the good news?" "I'm waiting to hear the good news." I said, "Sir, none so far. Search is going on. It's a very difficult area. And the moment something happens, I'll keep you updated." He said, "Any help you require? Your unit requires?" I said, "Sir, not really, because we can't put in more troops than this because we are very close to the line of control. We'll invite fire from the adversary." He said, "Okay, never mind. I'm reaching up there to review and we'll see what can be done further." So after about 1.5 hours, he reached us. It involved a climb of about 45 minutes from the roadhead. And thereafter, we were in the jungle and I was briefing him. They were sitting in half circle. I was standing and briefing them. My briefing got over within 10-12 minutes. And then he asked some question, my brigade commander, "What is the alignment of line of control? Show me which are the known places of deployment of Pakistani posts." All that was going on. And then somebody asked a question. I turned my head. The moment I turned my head, I got hit by a bullet. A terrorist was hiding very close by, and he fired at me. And then, of course, there was a raging battle, our troops versus the terrorists, and there was a lot of exchange of fire. Then, since I was hit, I fell down, and then my brigade commander took over. He sent the commandos from a flank, from behind, and within an hour and a half, they had killed that terrorist and brought the body. And then, of course, my brigade commander asked for a helicopter, and I was evacuated and sent to the hospital. So that was a very thrilling experience, Jess. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for sharing your experience.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else, please?
Jai Hind, sir. I'm
Yeah,
Cadet Rose to be second year Newman College.
Yeah.
Sir, after watching your session, it was clear that you have enjoyed each and every moment of your life in defense. So, sir, what made you take a step forward to this path?
Rose, like I shared with you earlier, soldiering fascinated me. Everything about the armed forces, the lifestyle, the work, the adventure, and the traveling, and all this, all this excited me. So I found it a very wholesome kind of life. It was not a typical desk job, and a lot of adventure, etc. I was fascinated by the military academy, the kind of training which goes on there. So that's why I joined the armed forces.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Chal sir.
Yeah, Pragesh.
Sir. Actually, your presentation was very thrilling because you narrated the soldier of the life of a soldier.
Thank you so much.
And we had an NCC cadet called Lieutenant Colonel Arun Kumar. He's serving now, and he had an experience of face-to-face war in Jammu and Kashmir.
Yeah.
He's also shot and injured badly.
Okay.
He got Sena medal.
Yeah.
And when I interacted with him, he said, I saw what happened. He said, actually, he had only 1 week tenure in Jammu and Kashmir, and he is supposed to transfer to Madhya Pradesh.
Okay.
Within this week, this happened. So I asked him, this was a misfortune for you, and he said, no, it is actually a fortune for me. So I can kill 3 or 4 terrorists. This is an interesting thing. So I am asking, what is the mental status of you kind of great officers? And another another question is, what is the current status of our security? The terrorism, is it going in the positive direction or negative direction? So can we control it now?
Okay, Prajesh, thank you so much for your question. Firstly, the mental state or status of our soldiers deployed in Jammu and Kashmir or Northeast or Siachen, who are facing battle every day, they are extremely motivated. They are imbued with a spirit of nationalism. All they think is of their, like Geeta Adhikari was telling, it is the name of your unit, your company, your armed forces, your country, which makes you perform at more than 100% level. They are extremely motivated, very hardworking, and they enjoy what they are doing. It's very thrilling. It gives an adrenaline rush. It is not a kind of hard work which a manual labor does day in and day out. It is a thrilling activity. It's a very noble kind of thing. So that imbues a lot of self-esteem, you feel happy doing it. And you asked, the second question was regarding what is the security status. You see, armed forces are performing very well. They are doing what they've been mandated to do. Our permanent solution lies on the political front. It is people who are fighting against the state have a list of complaints or grudges. So unless they are solved, that problem of insurgency, etc., can be controlled but not solved. Armed forces are an instrument available to the nation to assist them in solving the problem. But the problem solution will lie at the political level. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Chahal sir,
Yes. Geeta.
Yes, sir. Sir, it was extremely inspiring to hear your story, sir. The moment I saw that I'm going to speak amongst you and Chaco, sir.
Thank you.
It is really inspiring, and I salute you.
Thank you so much.
For whatever you've done, sir. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Great, Geeta.
Most welcome, sir.
Yeah, that was a wonderful, very inspiring expose you had given. And thank you, Chahal sir. It was really good. Really inspiring.
Chaco, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Prakesh sir, Chahal sir, if you're finished, we can move on to the...
Yes. Yeah, I have finished. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your informative session. Now, it's time for our third session and our last one. Our last session is Defense Career Options and Opportunities. It will be taken by Brigadier M.D. Chaco. Brigadier M.D. Chaco have rendered nearly 4 decades of distinguished and most meritorious service in Maratha Light Infantry Regiment of the Indian Army with utmost dedication and commitment. He has done MSc in Defense and Strategic Studies from Hello, sir.
Yeah, Elsa, sorry, there was a little disturbance there. Yeah, I can hear you.
He has done MSc and MPhil in Defense and Strategic Studies from Osmani University, Hyderabad, and done a couple of diplomas in management. He has served as the Director General of Army HR Recruitment and had been the Group Commander of NCC Group Kottayam. There are many more words about him. He is the one who is having a high jobs. We, Newman NCC, is very blessed with his presence. So let me invite Brigadier MD Chako to take over the session. Sir, please.
Yeah, thank you. A warm good afternoon to all of you. How are you all? Yes, students, how are you all?
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
From the very motivating soldier Geeta Adhikari, a war-wounded veteran Chahal sir, we are moving on to the actual substance of what is there to offer you. What are we going to offer you? How can you reach them? How can you emulate them? How can you get into their boots? How can you face those bullets? And do it all for the country which you love, the family which you belong to, and the brotherhood which you are from. So that is my task now, to tell you as to how you can move on from here. After getting so much inspired, so much, knowing about things from the horse's mouth, and we had a wonderful variety of experience being shared by these two great veterans. When this idea of having a national webinar on defense was mooted by my dear, I can call him a friend because we always remain a friend and we always talk like friends. By Lieutenant Prijesh Matthew, when he told me, sir, there is an idea I have, and I said, the ideas have to be given its skeleton and its flesh and its blood straight away, without even thinking twice, without even winching my eyes. I said, yes, go ahead. I am there with you. Because that is a kind of motivation which you all require today. And I appreciate each one of you, the kind of energy, the kind of dedication, not only to listen to these people, to sit in this platform, an online platform for almost 2 to 3 hours, and to listen to our story, the story of Esther years. It really goes to say that you really have it in you. All of you have that in you enough and sufficiently. Now, the dear principal, respected Thompson sir, Father Manuel Pichalakat, Lieutenant Prijesh Matthew, Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez, Brigadier Anubir Singh Chahal, Sena Medal, Major Geeta Adhikari. It is indeed a privilege for me to be speaking to my dear students and NCC cadets of Newman College in particular, and also all the students all over Kerala, all over India who have joined this wonderful program organized by Newman College, Thodupuzha. I know it takes time and energy and courage to listen to us. Because today's world, people do not have the ability to listen. Everyone wants things to be done quickly, very, very quickly, things to be done. That ability to listen is actually depleting day by day. I will tell you a very small example, which I shared with Prijesh sir in the morning. One student of class 12 was speaking to me yesterday, and that student was telling me, sir, I want to become an army officer and I want to join the NDA. I am now studying in 12th. But tell me, how can I become an officer immediately? I want to become an officer quickly. But I'm not prepared to do a lot of hard work. I can only see the YouTube videos. Will that be enough for me? I asked him a counter question. You are studying in 12th class. You go to college every day. You spend so much of time. You are spending almost 2 years, 11th and 12th. And you are studying every day. There are a lot of exams. There are a lot of tests conducted. And then finally you pass out after 2 years. Imagine the kind of energy you are putting in there. Let's say you are planning to appear for the JEE exam, the NEET exam. How much of effort do you really put in? So to become an officer or to become a Jawan, for that example, it calls for a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, a lot of tests, self-tests, which has to be conducted. Only then you can pass this exam. Whether it is to become a Jawan or to become an officer. I used to tell, when I was the recruiting head of UP and Uttarakhand, I used to tell my people, when I used to go and address the recruiters, the people, those who used to come for recruiting, I used to tell them, it is easy to become an officer in the defense force, but it is extremely difficult to become a Jawan, to get recruited in the army. It is really, really difficult. I tell you why. When you go for recruiting, around 300 to 350 to 400, I know a lot of you must have gone. 400 people are made to stand on a strip of not more than 50 meters wide. And then you are told to go, ready, go. You have to run 1.6 kilometers in 5 minutes time. Out of the 300 people, only 5 to 10 people get selected. The rest of the people do not get selected. And thereafter you have a lot of exams and medicals and things like that. So what I'm trying to tell you is, everything calls for a lot of dedicated hard work. And if you're prepared for that, I think defense is definitely an option for you. You heard these veterans speaking to you, and you also heard what goes behind the screen, what goes behind the glamour of this uniform. Having said that, let me straight get into the presentation for today. I have made a small little presentation for you, and I hope this will be of great, advantage and interest to you. Okay, we are going to talk about the bullets and boots, the defense options and the opportunities. As I said, I was commissioned in 1985, and I've commanded a brigade along the line of actual control, where I met Geeta Adhikari, who was giving us food every day, and because of her, we all survived there. I was also the group commander of NCC group headquarters Kottayam, and thereafter I moved on to the civil street to do various other kinds of works. My talk is basically the basic structure of the Army and the Navy and the Air Force. How can you become an officer after 12th or after graduation? A point about the SSB interview. The other rank, how can you become another rank in the Army, Navy and Air Force? And what should be your preparation strategy? It's a long topic, but I will be quickly going over it. I will be only covering those important aspects and balance. Anybody has got any doubt, you can get back to me. I have already shared my number in the chat box. What is the role of defense? Defense is basically two roles. And what is the primary role of defense is to preserve the national interest and safeguard the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and unity of India against any external threats or deterrents. What are the secondary roles of the nation, of the army or the armed forces? It is to defend the nation against all internal threats and challenges, proxy wars, and also to provide aid to the civil authorities when it is called for. Now, what is a defense forces? A defense force is basically consisting of all the forces which are in the Army, Navy, and Air Force. People call even BSF, CRPF, those are central paramilitary forces. They are not part of the defense forces. They are all part of the Home Ministry. Now, when you talk about the rank structure, the broad rank structure of the defense forces, it is the officers, the junior commissioned officers, and the other ranks. When I say other ranks, anybody up to the rank of junior commissioned officers is considered to be other ranks. Now, we go straight onto the various rank structures of the defense forces. The topmost rank of the defense forces is the Chief of Defense Staff. Then you have the army ranks. The one which is shown in the lower file is of the other ranks, and the one which is on the top level is the commissioned officers. You join as a Sipahi, you become a Lasnaik, you become Naik, you become Havaldar, Naib Subedar, Subedar, and Subedar Major. And as far as officers concerned, you get commissioned as lieutenant, you become captain, major, lieutenant colonel, colonel, brigadier, major general, lieutenant general, general, and the field marshal, which is again an appointment which is given after you have done a sterling service to the nation. Similarly, in the Indian Navy, the one which is shown on top is of the other ranks, and the one which is on the bottom is of the officer's rank. Now, the Navy, they put on the ranks on the shoulder as well as on the handcuffs. So you have the sailor, then the leading seaman, petty officer, chief petty officer, master chef, petty officer class 2 and class 1. And similarly, you have the officer's rank, sub-lieutenant, lieutenant, lieutenant commander, commander, captain, commodore, rear admiral, vice admiral, admiral, and admiral of the fleet, which is equivalent to the field marshal in the army. Then you have the brigadier, the Air Force ranks. The one which is on top is of the other ranks, and the one which is on the lower is the officer's rank. Aircraftsman, leading aircraftsman, corporal, sergeant, warrant officer, junior warrant officer, and master warrant officer. Then you have the officers, pilot officer, flight lieutenant, squadron leader, wing commander, group captain, air commodore. Air commodore is equivalent to a brigadier, and major is equivalent to a squadron leader. And these are the ranks of the defense forces. Now we come to the branches of the defense forces. The defense forces are basically, when I talk about the army has basically into 4 groups. The army special forces, which is also known as the commandos. Then you have the combat arms, the supporting arms, and the services. The combat arms, while they fight the actual battle, the supporting arms supports them with communication, with firepower, with engineering support, and also mobility. Then you have the services, like Geeta Adhikari was telling, she belonged to the Army Service Corps, the EMA, the Air Force, the AOC, all these, they support the supporting arms as well as the combat arms in fighting the battle. Now we come to the Indian Navy. The Indian Navy consists of the executive branch, the engineering branch, the electrical branch, and the administrative branch in all the various branches of the Navy. And then we have the Air Force. The Air Force can either be on the ground or they can be on the air. So therefore, you have a flying branch which is actually tasked to fly the aircrafts, and the ground duty branch which supports the flyers and the equipment which they have. So the flying branch is the fighter aircrafts, the helicopter aircrafts, and the transport aircrafts. The ground duty branch consists of technical and non-technical. While the technical provides the technical support, the non-technical provides the administrative support. Now, let us see. Now, our talk is basically of the officers cadre and also the other ranks cadre. So now I will talk about the officers cadre first. What is an officer? An officer is a class 1 gazetted officer, and he derives the power and the authority directly from the supreme commander or the sovereign power of the nation, that is the President of India, and he holds the commission charging them with the duties and responsibilities of a specific office or position or the rank which they hold. That means the power of an officer is derived from the supreme commander of the armed forces, that is the President of India. When an officer gets commission, he gets an instrument of power which is signed by the President himself, and it is given on the name of the officer that you are hereby commissioned into the Indian Army, Indian Air Force, or the Indian Navy on a particular rank, and you are charged with the duties of a commissioned officer. Okay, there are 2 types of commissioned officers. One is a permanent commissioned officer, and then there is a short service commissioned officer. As the name goes, the permanent commissioned officer serves the nation for a permanent period of term, which is detected by the age and the rank. The short service commission officer is detected by the terms of engagement when that officer joins the force. Either he or she serves for 10 years, which can be extended to 14 years, which can even be extended to 20 years. Now, after every stage, the officer will be asked whether the officer wants to leave or wants to serve. If the officer says that he wants to serve or she wants to serve or continue, her performance will be reviewed. Depending upon the capability and also the performance of the officer, she or he can be given permanent commission, or if it is not up to that mark, it can be continued to continue, or she can leave in case she wants to leave, like Geeta chose to leave. She left the army and now she is a veteran. So that is how the various types of officers and their service terms are concerned. Now we come to, as a graduate and as a class 12, how can you become an officer? First, I'll cover the graduate part, which most of you are graduates. You have the Combined Defense Services Examination. You have the Air Force Common Admission Test for the Air Force, the Indian Naval Entrance Test for the Navy, and there is an NCC entry for all the three services, that is Army, Navy, and Air Force. I will come on to that NCC entry slightly later. Then you have the Military Nursing Service also, which even the graduates can apply because of the age. I will also be covering that subsequently. Now we come to how do we really become an officer and what is the process of becoming an officer. You have a notification which comes in the paper or in the employment news or in a particular website of the services. Based on that, you submit your application. And once you submit the application, your application is okay, it is received, and it is all passed through. Then you will appear for a written examination. Or else, if you're a postgraduate, there is no written examination, you can directly apply. In any of these cases, you are put through an interview after the examination once you qualify the exam, or once your application has been received as a postgraduate. So you have an interview. An interview is called the SSB or the Air Force SSB or the Naval SSB. Now, these SSBs are the most critical component of your selection. I will not say the written examination is not important, but when you talk about the selection, the SSB interview is the most cutting edge, which is totally different for the defense forces, which is not in any other selection procedure. Even an IAS, IPS officer does not go through this. It must be of interest to you to know that even Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, our dear late president, even he could not pass or he could not get qualified in the SSB interview, which does not mean that he was not intelligent, he was not good, but he did not meet the requirement of a defense force. Then you have the medicals, then you have the training at the academies, and then you pass out as an officer. Now we go straight on to the Combined Defense Services Examination and its other details. Combined Defense Services Examination is an examination conducted by the Union Public Service Commission. It is conducted twice a year, which is generally in the month of October, and the notification comes in the month of October or June. Examinations are generally conducted in the month of February and November. Only unmarried graduates can apply. That means anybody in the defense who is less than 25 years of age is not permitted to marry officially. So therefore, this examination also, since it is up to 25 years, anybody beyond 25 can of course be married and then can apply. So therefore, in the CDS examination, only unmarried students can apply. Where are the training conducted when you go for the CDS examination? The CDS examination is basically conducted for Army, Navy, as well as Air Force. It has different components, different vacancies for every forces. If you are a permanent stream Army cadet, then you go to Indian Military Academy, Dehradun. If you're a naval cadet, whether it is permanent or short service, you go to Naval Academy, Erimala in Kerala. If you're an Air Force Academy student, whether it is permanent or it is temporary short service, you go to the Indian Air Force Academy, Dundigal, which is in Hyderabad, Telangana. If you are a short service commissioner of the Indian Army, then you go to the Officers Training Academy, Chennai, which is for both girls as well as boys. Now, what are the age limit for Combined Defense Service examination? For the permanent commission, it is up to 24 years of age. For the short service commission, it is up to 25 years of age. If you are a technical graduate and you're going for technical entry, then your age is up to 26 years and 27 years. Now, there are two examinations. If you're a permanent cadre officer, then you have to appear for 3 papers, which is basically English, general knowledge, and elementary mathematics. If you're a short service officer, then you apply for English and general knowledge only. There is no mathematics. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is, these examinations are conducted of the level of class 12. So therefore, basically, the intake is based on your class 12 knowledge. So it is not something which is not possible for you. It is very much possible for you, and you can always reach there. Now, that is as far as the Indian Army is concerned, or the Combined Defense Service examination is concerned. So, in the when I talk about the Air Force Common Admission Test, the entire vacancy is divided force-wise into various categories. Now, the Army intake is only through CDS after graduation, and also with some direct application. The Air Force vacancies get split. Some is through CDS and some is through the Air Force Common Admission Test, which is called AFCAT. Similarly, the Navy also has some through the CDS and some through the Indian Naval Entrance Test. Now, you will ask me, sir, which is better? Where should I go, that route, or should I take this route? Let me tell you, the routes are generally similar. The processes are generally similar. The only difference is there are certain differences in the qualification. For example, for a CDS cadet, you have 3 examinations, which I have already told you. In the Air Force Common Admission Test, there is only one examination which has got 4 different parts or different topics. There is only one exam. Whereas in that, there are 3 different exams. Now, Air Force Common Admission Test is conducted by the Air Force itself. It is not conducted by the UPSC. So these are the major differences I will be telling you as I go along. Now, Air Force Common Admission Test is also for flying, for technical branch, for ground duty branch, and this examination is also conducted twice a year, February and August. The next exam is going to be in next February, that is 2021 February. Now, age is up to 24 years as it was in the CDS. If you are a pilot, if you have a valid current commercial pilot license, the age will be relaxed up to 26 years. So what you get is an age relaxation because you don't have to go through that kind of a training, which is important. So therefore, you get this 2 years of extension, or maybe whatever you get that relaxation. Then you have the ground duty, and that is also for technical branch, it is up to 26 years. Otherwise, it is up to 24 years. All right. Now, the most important thing, whether it is CDS or whether it is AFCAT or INET, for the Navy and the Air Force, if you are going through the, if you are actually planning the Air Force and Navy wing, you go to have passed your class 12 with 60% for the flying branch, which is very important. For the flying branch, you go to have done PCM, physics, chemistry, and maths, and you can be a normal graduate, you can be a BTech. In either case, you can apply for the flying branch. Ground duty branches, administrative and logistics. You can, if you're a BCom student, if you're a BBA student, if you're an MBA student, you can go in for the administrative and logistic branch. Now you will ask me, sir, if I am so and so, can I apply for this? Most of it comes in the notification which is released by the respective branches. Now, what are the tests? The test you have in the AFCAT, In the AFCAT, you have the AFCAT exam, which is an online examination, which I told you, for 2.5 hours. The total mark is 300 marks. And the topics which are covered are general awareness, verbal ability in English, numerical ability, reasoning, and military aptitude. There is a negative marking. And the EKT is for technical graduates. If you're a technical graduates and you go for the AFCAT, then you have an additional paper called EKT, Engineering Knowledge Test, which is basically a 50 marks question paper, which has got 150 marks total. 50 questions are there, and the time given to you is 45 minutes. And depending upon your stream, if you're a mechanical stream or a computer stream or electrical and electronics, you have different type of exams. But the questions will be 50 questions, 150 marks. You go to get enough mark in that as well. Now we come to the Indian Naval Entrance Examination, which is basically a test. Let me tell you, the Navy is technically very heavy. Therefore, most of the officers' cadre is from the engineering branch. You go to be a BTech or a BE to enter into the Navy, but there are some vacancies for the normal graduates and postgraduates. For example, the one which is shown in the red and the one which is shown in the blue, where it is written M and F, that means male and female. Let's say the last line, which is SSC, Short Service Commission Officers, Logistics Branch. If you are an MBA, if you're an MCA, you're an MSc or a BSc or a BCom with a diploma in finance, you can join the Navy in the administrative or logistics branch. Then you have the IT branch, you have the education branch. All these are basically for non-technical students. And for technical students, you have the one which is shown in the blue bands. Now you have the examination details. While the AFCAT examination was for 300 marks, the INET examination is for 400 marks. And the papers are generally English, mathematics, general science and mathematical aptitude, and general knowledge, reasoning, and numerical ability. That is what the papers are. Each portion will have 25 questions each, and you have a total of 100 questions, and you have 400 marks, and the examination is for 2 hours. AFCAT was 2.5 hours, this is for 2 hours, and you go to a minimum mark for passing the exam. Now I talk about the NCC. A lot of students ask me, sir, how can we become an officer after becoming an NCC cadet? Let me make this very clear to all of you. A lot of students ask me, sir, I'm an NCC certificate holder. Can I become an officer in the NCC? I want to tell all my students, those who are from the NCC, the NCC is definitely not a platform to give you an entry as an officer. It is not. NCC by itself is a platform for the youth to get trained in the army manner, to get used to the army or the defense manner, know the things in a closer perspective, take part in a lot of adventure activities, take part in a lot of national building activities, and to become a better youth. Unity and discipline is the motto of the NCC. The NCC is not a platform to provide officers cadets. No. It is actually a different requirement altogether. Now, by being in the NCC, by being an excellent student, by being an excellent cadet, by being a very meritorious cadet, you are given this opportunity to choose the armed forces as an officer, wherein you are excused and exempted from writing the exam. You don't have to write the exam, but you have to go through the SSB. Now what happens? In the entire country, you may have at least 10 to 15 lakhs students of the NCC who are in the NCC. Out of this, every year, at least 4 to 5 lakh students will be passing out as NCC certificate holders. Out of these 4 to 5 lakhs, maybe around 1 to 2 lakhs will have A grade and will appear for the SSB interview. Out of these 2 lakh students, those who are appearing for the SSB interview, you have vacancies not more than 10 to 15. That means for 10 to 15 vacancies, there are nearly 2 lakh or maybe 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh cadets competing. Now, you can imagine how easy, how difficult, how problematic this particular journey will be. So think about that. That answers the question. Therefore, whenever a student asks me, sir, can we become an officer through the NDA for the NCC? I do tell them, yes, you can. But there is a problem like this, which you must understand. So therefore, which is the best option? The best option is the NCC gives you that motivation, that confidence, that training, that you are exposed to these kind of talks which we are doing today to you. So you get first-hand information from people. You get more armed with knowledge. So therefore, you can use this advantage which you have gained here for your betterment. You can defeat people when you go in the open forum. You will stand out, you will shine. But when you are competing within the NCC, your competition is going to be a little tough. So that is what I keep advising my students. Appear for your CDS exam, appear for your FCAT exam, appear for INET exam. Apply, separately, not through the NCC, but through a different thing. And make use of this advantage which you have got being an NCC cadet, being an appointment holder. That is what you must really make use of. Okay, now we move to the next part. So I hope this point is very clear to you. Please understand that. Now I go on to the NDA and the NA. All of you must have heard this news. In an equality push, the Supreme Court allows women to take the NDA exam. A lot of people would be like wanting to know about this today. It came on 18th of August. And again, 18th August. And it also says that Army women break another glass ceiling. 5 officers cleared for the colonel's rank in the combat support arms. Now let us know what does it mean to our KL cadets? It means in NDA we have around 350 to 400 vacancies in every 6 months. 350 to 400 vacancies in every 6 months we have. The girls will get some share of that particular vacancy. That means earlier it was 400 vacancies only for boys. Now at least 100 vacancies will go to girls as well. But the girls will not be taken into the combat arms or combat support arms. They will be taken into the services arms, services. So these two will receive a girl component, and they will also undergo training for 4 years, like Adhikari said. They will also have the same standards of physical conditions. They will also have the same standards of selection. Everything will be the same. So, boys, let me tell you, there is going to be tough competition for all of you. So be prepared. The 100 vacancies have gone to the girls. So you are now vying for 300 vacancies. Kerala government is struggling to give admission for all 11th class students today. The number of students, those who passed 10th, is much more than the vacancies we have in our schools, which means we are really struggling to give admission to all our 10th class students into the 11th standard. The number of students are going to be definitely increasing. It will take some time for this figure to stabilize, which means the tough competition is ahead of you. It is not times like ours, or not times like Lieutenant Prijesh or maybe other NCC officers sitting in this forum. It is going to be tough for you. The vacancies are going to be limited. The number of people applying are going to be more. Times are going to be a little demanding and tough for you. So be prepared for the worst. That's all what I have to tell you. Be prepared. Okay? But it is within your approach. Nothing is impossible here. All right. What is National Defence Academy? National Defence Academy is a tri-service organization, one of the best of the organizations, or the first of the organizations in the world. The examination is conducted by Union Public Service Commission also. It is conducted by Union Public Service Commission. It is conducted twice a year. And students, those who are in the 12th and also those who have passed 12th, can apply for this. And it is applicable to women as well. Now, the age limit, you all must be looking for the age limit. The age limit is between 16.5 to 19.5. Now, when I say 19.5 is the outer limit, that is the period that is the date by which the cadet is supposed to be reaching the academy. Which means, let's say we are talking about the next year, January 2022 onwards. There is an examination which is going to be conducted in February 2022 and in April 2022. Those of you who are going to apply for 2022 examination, their training will start in January 2023, which means there is a gestation period of 8 months. So by the time you reach the academy, your age should be 19.5, which means the last you can appear the examination is 18 years and maybe 8 months or 6 months. If you are beyond 18 years and 6 months or 8 months, by April 2022, you cannot write the exam because you are going to be overage. So this is the idea you must all understand. And once you join the NDA, you get you can do graduation, which is BSc or BA. It can be in science stream, it can be in computer stream, or it can be in the humanities stream from the prestigious Jawaharlal Nehru University. For the NDA, you have 2 examinations. One is mathematics and the other one is general ability. The general ability consists of all subjects including English, general science, general social studies, and also you have the current affairs. The general ability consists of all these 4 to 5 different streams and topics. Total mark is 900 marks. Mathematics has got 300 marks and general ability has got 600 marks. There is a negative marking in this. 1/3 of your mark goes negative. So this is what you have to understand about the National Defence Academy. The training is for 3 years in National Defence Academy. Then you have 1 year specialization training in the Indian Military Academy or the Indian Naval Academy or the Indian Air Force Academy. Next, what you have is the military nursing service, which I wanted to tell you. A military nursing service is again an officer's cadre. You become a military nurse. A military nursing service is an also officer's cadre. And for that, your education qualification requirement is 10+2 with bio. And students those who are studying in 12th also can appear for this. The physical standard requirement is 148 centimeter. And by the by, to become an officer, for a male, the height requirement is 162. And for a female, it is 152. Okay. Now the age group is 17.5 to 25 years. So students those who are studying in the graduation also can apply for becoming a military nursing officer. What do you have? What is the selection process? The selection process is there is a computer-based online test. You have a personal interview, and then you have the medical test. With all this, if you clear all this, then you get selected for a 4 years of BSc training, BSc nursing training at various institutes. Where are those institutes? They are in Pune, Kolkata, Mumbai, New Delhi, Lucknow, Bangalore. Total seat availability is 220 seats. Now, there are a lot of people keep telling me, sir, is it safe for the girls to join? Geeta has already spoken to you. I don't have to dwell upon more about that. What are the types of commission for MNS officers? They are commissioned officers. Is it difficult to get through? Yes, it is difficult to get through. You go to write the exam. Lifestyle is like any other officer's lifestyle. Marriage. A lot of people ask me, sir, can the MNS officers marry? They are not supposed to marry. No. They are not supposed to marry when they are doing training, and that applicable to the women officers, other officers also. All right. And we all wish you all the best to become military nursery service. Now I come straight to the other aspect, that is, how can you become another rank in the Air Force, the Navy, and the Air Force, and the Army. Okay, now first I cover the Navy. The Navy basically has got two different streams. One is artificer apprentices, for which you go to be 10 plus 2 with physics, chemistry, mathematics. And then you have the senior secondary recruit, SSR, which again, you go to be 10 plus 2 with PCM. The age is up to 21 years and height requirement is 165 centimeter. The metric entry recruits, you have, there is another category called metric entry recruits for only for matriculation cadets, and the age limit is up to 21 years. And for non-metric entry, that is less than 10th class, you can apply up to 23 years of age in the Navy. And basically these are tradesmen, basically stewards, waiters, or maybe assistants, or in the housekeeping department and things like that. You have people, those who join, even non-metric entry students can also join there. Now you have the Air Force. The Air Force is basically into two categories. One is the X group and the Y group. You have X group is basically a group which is slightly higher in pay than the Y group, and they consist of the technical fitters and the non-technical, that is education instructor. For non-technical education instructor basically means you become a instructor in the education branch, and this is not an officer's rank, it's another rank position. For the technical branch, you go to be a 10 plus 2 or a 3-year diploma in technical subjects with English, and the height requirement is 165 centimeter, and age is between 17 to 21. And for the non-technical branch in the X group, you can be an education instructor, and you have to be a graduate or a postgraduate. And for a graduate, you can be 20 to 25, and a postgraduate, you can be from 20 to 28, and the height requirement is 167 centimeter. For the Y group, you have again technicians branch, which again you go to have 50% in PCM, 17 to 21 is the age. And for the non-technical branch, you go to be only 10 plus 2 with 50% mark, and they are basically the administrative security branch. You become Air Force police, you become musicians and things like that. So Air Force, you have X group and Y group. You have technical fitters, which is in the X group. You have technical fitters in the Y group. You have the administrative branch, which is again in the Y group. All right, now we come to the Army. The Army has got various other various departments of other ranks. You got soldier technicians, you got soldier technician aviation, you got soldier technician in the AMC or the veterinary department. You have soldier technician in the storekeeping technicians. You have pharma shipoi in the pharmaceutical department. You have Havaldar, surveyor and automated cartographer who has got a diploma in relevant subject can join. Then you also have junior commissioned officers with 1-year diploma in catering and hotel management can become catering gestures. And one more thing I want to tell you, you can also become a religious teacher, junior commissioned officer, religious teacher. If you got a diploma, you can become a Maulvi, you can become a priest, you can become a Panditji in the Indian Army in various capacities. You go to have a diploma and a 10th pass. All right. Now, talking about this, let me talk about the soldier tradesman. If you want to become a tradesman, that means this is the administrative branch, and you want to become a tradesman. You have two categories of tradesmen. One is 10th pass tradesman, and you have 10th fail or maybe 8th pass tradesman. The dresser means the one who cuts your hair. Chef is cook. Stewards who serves you, equipment repairer, and the washerman. These are the categories where you go to be 10th pass. And for 8th pass, Soyuz, basically you looks after the animals. You have mess keeper and the housekeeper. For this you need not be even 10th. And age is up to 23 years. And your height is 166 centimeter. and you go to have a chest expansion with 77 centimeters plus or minus plus 5 centimeter. Then you have the soldier GD, the general duty, which is the most popular one. Age is up to 21 years. You go to have done your 10th, and your height requirement is 166 centimeter. Whereas the officer, the requirement was 162 centimeter. Here, the height requirement of a Keralite or a and this height requirement varies. For hill tribes, the height requirement is less, and for various other categories, the height requirement is more. So that is where it is. And then you have the technical soldiers. That is again 10 plus 2. You go to be 10 plus 2, and the age is up to 21 years, and your height has to be 165 centimeter. Okay. Now I come to the SKT. Again, it is 10 plus 2. Height requirement is 162, and your age is up to 23 years of age. Then you have the soldier technical nursing assistant. It can be in the Army Medical Corps or in the veterinary department. So you have these, that is 17.5 to 23 years, and the height requirement is 65 centimeter, and you go to have 10 plus 2 with minimum 50% mark. Now you have the selection process for men. The selection process for men is 1.6 kilometers in 5 minutes 30 seconds, that you get the first group. And if you are less than if you're taking more time, then you get less mark. Then you have pull-ups, you have 9 feet ditch, and you have a zigzag balance. And if you clear all this, then you pass the exam. Now for NCC, if you're a C certificate holder, you don't have to write the examination. Like for example, if a man wants to get recruited, the first thing is application online. Then you have the physical test. After you clear the physical test, there is a medical. And after you have cleared the medical, then there's a common entrance examination, which is called CEE. But if you're a C certificate holder, you are exempted from the written examination. But if you're an A certificate holder, you get 5 marks as bonus mark. And if you're a B certificate holder, you get 10 marks as bonus mark. Now, talking about the women police, there is an entry which is called women police, which is again another rank for the women. The height requirement is 150 centimeter. You go to have done your 10th. It is an application-based selection. Initially, you apply for it, and it is once in a year, and it is conducted at various select localities. You apply for it. Last year, the cutoff was 85% in the 10th standard. The age is between 17.5 to 21 years, and the height requirement is 152 centimeter. What is the test for you? The test for you is 1.6 kilometers. While the men will run at 5 minutes 30 seconds, the women will have to run it with 7 minutes 30 seconds. Then you have a long jump and a high jump, which is required to be passed, whereas the men do not have the long jump and the high jump. Similarly, for the women also, if you're a C certificate holder, you're exempted from written examination, and the training is for 33 weeks, and your period of service is 15 years only. All right. With this, I have come to the end of this part of the presentation. Now I want to tell something about the SSB. I want to tell you something about the SSB. The SSB, as I told you, is the most difficult part of the selection as an officer. Everyone has to prepare for the SSB very well. It's a test which is conducted by the board. It's a selection board which consists of a group task officer, an interviewing officer, and an intelligence officer who will test the intelligence, and also a psychologist. So you have variety of tests in which you have to undergo personality test. You go through the psychological test. You go through the intelligence test, and you also go to face the interview. Now, what all does it consist of? It is a examination over five days. It is basically divided into 2 parts. The first part is the basic screening. That happens on the first day. And then if you qualify in the screening, then you are qualified, and then you're sent to the next stage, which is called the balance tests. So it is pretty difficult. You got to prepare yourself very well to get into this particular officer's cadre examination. Let me tell you, in every student, those who go for this SSB, the pass percentage is actually not more than maybe 0.5%. Now, this is an examination which is conducted to see whether you have those qualities in you which distinguishes you, which can make you identify with the ethos of the defense services. The ethos of the defense services has already been summarized. It is country before self, your men before self, and then comes finally your own ease and comfort and honor. So therefore, your country is the supreme for you. And people ask a lot of questions. What makes you going? What makes you going is amply described by Gita. Nam, Namak, or Nisha. Your own name, your family's name, the village you belong to, the district you belong to, the state you belong to, the country you belong to, the culture you belong to, the society you belong to, and your own prestige as a man or a woman. That is what distinguishes you, and that is what makes you going. Irrespective of any odds, irrespective of even situations wherein you have to put yourself ahead of everything else, despite all your problems, despite all your inadequacies, a human being rise to the occasion and ready to sacrifice his or her life for the name of the country. That is what makes you going, and that if you have that in you, you will pass your SSB. If you do not have that in you, you will not pass your SSB. There are 15 officers like qualities which you need to display if you have it in you, and that is what the SSB tests you, whether you really have it in you. It is not necessary that you got to be a very fluent in English, you got to be bombastic in your expressions. No. But people that are sitting there, specially selected, trained people, experts, they will be able to see through you. And then they will say, yes, here is a man or a woman who has it in him or her. And therefore, this person is fit to be selected for the defense forces. Now, what keeps you going again? It's the personal dignity of a person. Dignity, because you are the last laugh. If you fall, the country falls. Therefore, there is everything on your shoulders. Then you will ask me, sir, why? What about the other countrymen? Yes, their love, their expectations, their confidence is on your shoulders. That is why you are there, facing the bullet, every time ready to go, rearing to go. Spend sleepless nights. That is what makes people like Adhikari, officers like Brigadier Chahal, to take the bullet. He doesn't have an eye. I went and saw him in the research and referral hospital in the army in Delhi. He lost some of his grey matter, and today you have the privilege of listening to such a distinguished soldier, a man who has laid down everything for the country. He stayed in the hospital for almost 2 years. That is the kind of spirit which is displayed by such great soldiers. And let me tell you what again makes the army life different. There is no corruption in the army. The army gives you very less opportunities for corruption. You are staying in an insulated atmosphere, an environment which only brings you the spirit and love for your country. That's all, nothing else. So with this, I come to the end of my talk. I thank Lieutenant Preachers to give me, every time I speak to him, he always gives me a task. I get motivated by his totally disarming smile. And he tells me, sir, I can fight with a brigadier, and the only privilege I have is to fight with you. And I tell him, yes, you can. You have the opportunity to do that and the right to do that. Finally, students and my colleagues, I would like to summarize. Soldiering is the oldest and noblest profession. to every man upon this earth. Death comes sooner or later. How can he die better than facing the fearful odds for the ashes of his parents and the temples of his gods? മലയാളത്തിൽ പറഞ്ഞാല് ഈ ലോകത്തിൽ ഉള്ള എല്ലാവർക്കും മരണം ഒരു സത്യമാണ്. It's a fact. It's a truth. But if you can die facing fearful odds, നമ്മുടെ പൂർവജന്മാരുടെ അസ്ഥികൾ നിർമ്മാർജ്ജനം ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്ന ഈ ഭൂമിക്ക് വേണ്ടിയും നമ്മുടെ ദൈവങ്ങൾ കുടികൊള്ളുന്ന ഈ ഭൂമിക്ക് വേണ്ടിയും നമുക്ക് നമ്മുടെ ജീവനെ ബലിയ അർപ്പിക്കാൻ സാധിക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, അതിന്റെ അവസരം കിട്ടുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അതിൽ പരം ശ്രേഷ്ഠമായ ഒരു കാര്യവുമില്ല എന്നാണ് ഈ കോട്ടിൽ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്. With this, I wind up my words. Thank you very much, dear friends, and I also thank Major Geeta and Brigadier Chahal to join this wonderful gathering today. And I'm very happy that you have really enlightened the students and you have really come up to my expectations. And I'm sure that the students are really going motivated and they will follow your footsteps and become great soldiers. Thank you very much. Once again, Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for such an informative and fruitful session. Now, it's time to thank all of you who gathered here in this meeting. I invite Company Quadrant Master Sergeant Abdul TK for the vote of thanks.
Elsa, any queries?
Yeah, any queries? Any queries, Elsa? I think you got totally moved my concluding remarks. Okay. Any queries, students?
And we are expecting any feedback from the participants also.
Yeah.
Yeah, the participants should share their views. Maybe we would like to hear from them. May not be a question.
Yes. Some of the participants can express their views about this class, how useful it was. I really liked it. Thank you, Colonel Rodriguez. It was really nice having you on this platform.
Sir, it was a pleasure listening to you and interacting with you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. We are all very charged up and motivated. Brigadier Chahal and me, we have started our journey together and we almost ended our journey together. It had been a great journey, moving together.
It was wonderful. Wonderful is the word.
I think we will wind it up here. Students if you can all give us your comments on the chat box, it will be better. Otherwise, Prajesh, we can wind it up.
Yes, sir. Anyway, before the formal vote of thanks, I must be grateful to dear officers. Really speaking, we are highly blessed with your presence. And actually, our cadets need these kinds of session. NCC is a beautiful platform, but from my experience of this 8 or 9 years, I understood exposures are very less. We are not having enough time to interact with these kinds of officers. So unofficially, I am expressing my gratitude because you moved the entire group. A lot of cadets are watching YouTube online. We created that link and we shared it with different platforms. So anyway, it's a very, very, very great thing. And our administrative officer, Lance Thodupuzha is with us. Actually, when a person who is inaugurated will disappear from the platform, but he is here with the starting and he is with the end also. We are highly grateful to you. And I am sure that these kinds of energy you are imparting, Geeta, Ma'am, Chahal sir and Chako sir, it's great for the nation building. And as a coordinator, officially, I am expressing my sincere thanks from my heart to all, and we salute you all. And expect to see in other platforms because I think these kinds of things will be very good for the cadets. Thank you very much. And cadets having a wonderful opportunity to talk with this because we are planning to end it with 1 o'clock. We have 30 minutes. We can use 5 or 6 minutes for some queries or any kind of questions. Please use it. Else, if none is there, definitely we can move towards
Yes, sir.
the
Sir. So, as I said, it's a time to wind up our meeting. Let me invite Company Cotton Master Sergeant Abhijit TK for the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to all. Respected research persons and our dear Thodupuzha. Today's webinar was a great one. As you all know, this is a great session and we are blessed to have these such a great research persons. Firstly, I would like to thank our respected principal of Newman College, Dr. Thodupuzha sir. He is the great founder of our Newman NCC. As we conduct a program online or offline, he is there for us for any help or support. He is a great mentor. We are very thankful to have a principal like him. Then I would like to show my gratitude to Lieutenant Colonel Lance D. Rodriguez, Administrative Officer of 18 Guerra Battalion, Georgia. Thank you, sir, for your very interesting and thoughtful working address. Next, I would like to thank all the great research persons who gave such a great inspiring lessons for our cadets. Not only our cadets, for all the participants who are participating in this webinar. Firstly, I would thank Major Veera Adhikari ma'am for the first session. The session was handled. She was an officer of Indian Navy with 10 years of service, and most of the SW cadets, I think they had a great session with interacting with ma'am and with her birds. They would have got a really great idea to what about the women's role in army and other soldiers. Next, I will show my gratitude to Brigadier Anirudh Singh Chahal retired. As we hear all the presentations and his field experiences, how should an army officer face everything in the field? We have thanked him. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
And our dear Chaco sir. Chaco sir, we had an offline seminar before this, only for Newman College cadets. As you all know, before this seminar, he is a well-known familiar person for us. All his session was very informative. Not only just army, he just explained everything about Indian defense and how can we took a career in all the defense forces. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to show my gratitude to our Vice Principal, Dr. Manuel Pichakase. Father, I think he is not in this meeting anymore. Perhaps in his absence, I would like to thank him for his great mentorship and all. Last but not least, I would like to thank all my dear cadets, everyone who helped with this webinar, and persons who stand for the coordinations, the live streamings, and everyone who participated in the background. So and everyone who are participating from we have started the program from 9 a.m. and we are still on. So I would like to show my gratitude to every one of you for being as a part of us till now. Thank you everyone. Jai Hind.
I hope all the participants had a great seminar session. Thank you all for your patience and cooperation. Let's all stand up for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलचिदरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गादा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Okay, I think we can wind up. The cadets of Newman College, please stay for 5 minutes. Others can quit. Dear officers, really thank you once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair sir, and thank you, Geeta. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and good day, sir.
Jai Hind, Jai Hind,
Good day, sir. Jai Hind, sir.
Okay.